Welcome to another interview. Today's interview is another accessibility conversation from a whole new perspective that I have yet to cover and talk about and share. We've obviously had a lot of conversations, Patrick, and I'm excited to bring our conversation to the rest of the community. I think what you guys have going on has been fascinating to watch it develop over the last 6 months to a year from my perspective. And I know that your momentum is not slowing down at all. So I think it's perfect timing for us to have a conversation to talk about what you're doing it with Innosearch. And before I give too much away, why don't you introduce yourself and let everybody know a little bit more about Innosearch?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi everybody. My name is Patrick Long. I'm one of the co-founders of Innosearch. Um, I've been an entrepreneur almost my entire career. Prior to this, I built a blockchain-based financial inclusion company to help empower the 2 billion underbanked access financial services. Now I'm focused on Innosearch, and it's a digital accessibility platform designed to help those who are blind and low vision navigate essential online services like e-commerce and travel. In my previous life, I was a CPA at Ernst& Young. I have a strong background in accounting, finance, and I earned my bachelor's degree from UC Berkeley. So go Bears. Born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm very passionate about badminton, traveling, investing in technology, and also playing a little poker on the side. But I know all you guys want to hear about Innosearch. Innosearch today is primarily focused on making the internet more accessible, right? So today, the internet is designed mainly for those who are sighted, who can navigate and see all the lovely pictures, videos out there. But for those who are blind and low vision, it's very challenging at times to access websites. So Innosearch is a digital accessibility layer. We help those who use screen readers, various text-to-speech technologies, access, very important services like shopping online or booking travel. So far today, we have over 500,000 retailers that you can shop from on Innosearch. You can very quickly find and search over 1 billion products in our catalog. And we also have, recently we released a phone service. So you can dial 1-855-SHOP-GPT and you can talk to our AI, right? And you don't even need an internet connection. With the phone line, you can shop and access our entire catalog. So it's very exciting stuff. We're very happy to be able to bring this to those who are blind and low vision. And from lots of customer testimonials and stories, we've heard a lot of positive impact we've made on people's lives. So we will continue to do this, continue to innovate, and hopefully make the web a lot more accessible.
Yeah. And what you guys are doing definitely has the traction. It has the momentum. A lot of people that I work alongside of that are blind or visually impaired already know about Innosearch. So you guys are definitely out there. And so I wanted us to connect because I want to cover the background and how you got to Innosearch, right? Because you personally, you started in finance, you jumped over to blockchain with some of the Web3 stuff, and now you're Innosearch making the online shopping experience. I don't know if you mentioned booking flights and travel, making that accessible for people with different types of disabilities who are using different types of assistive technology. Where did the idea for Innosearch come from? Like, how did you go from blockchain to Innosearch?
Yeah, so I would say after my first company, I took some time off, just mainly doing some investing and connecting with friends to explore, what other interesting technologies are out there to solve issues in the world, right? And recently, with the advent of ChatGPT and all this innovation around large language models, just the potential of AI and how it can really democratize access to help really excited me, right? And I know the cost to get sighted help is very high, right? I mean, cost of living, everything now is so expensive. Um, just having, somebody to help you, to say shop or book travel can be very cost prohibitive, right? And I think AI could be a solution. Obviously, it's not perfect. There are things like hallucinations, um, that can make the process challenging at times. Um, but I think there's great potential, right? And myself, I met my co-founder Brian, who's an expert in this stuff. He spent over 20 years, getting his PhD in AI and then working at all these major tech companies. So he has the experience, and together we sort of brainstormed, um, what can we do with this technology to make the biggest impact to a group that, I feel is underserved, right? That people sort of, it's an afterthought, right? A lot of times accessibility is something, companies don't really think of because their first priority is to maximize their profits, right?
Right.
And profitability for people who are sighted, there's a lot more spending power there. So there's a big focus on that. And therefore, we saw that this could be a big opportunity, right? And after doing some user tests, connecting with people in the community, we found, hey, I think there really is something, right? And I'm sure you've heard, from different community members that, what we're building has been very exciting. So, yeah, and now it's been over a year. We've been innovating, and so far the reception has been good. So we expect to continue to do this and bring this to a much bigger audience.
Yeah, I know the first time we connected, you were just kind of showing me around and sort of introducing it to me. And it had to have been close to a year ago when we first connected. And like the leaps and the bounds that you guys have been able to make, going from just shopping to booking flights and travel to now you don't even need an internet connection. You could just call and shop like through your phone cell service, right? And so I want to kind of talk briefly about each one of those, starting with the shopping. One of the things for me is the number of retailers, the number of sources where you're pulling those products from. What you said, over 1 billion products that you can search and shop between in there, and I want to emphasize that it's not just shopping and placing the order, but you can track your order through it. You can compare products using the AI. You can ask the AI to describe the product photos to you, even if they're not coming with alt text on them, right? So from that accessible experience, it's not just making it to where you can spend money and put in a credit card, but you can compare products. You can make sure that you're buying what it is you're looking for. And then to me, that's the part that stands out. And then once that transaction is made, you can track the product. You can refund and return the product all in one place. You don't have to go out to X, Y, or Z e-commerce store to track your package, to say this came and it was damaged, because we all know how the care that comes with shipping, right? And so the fact that all of that is centralized in one place is to me what makes it so cool. And the 3D printer sitting behind me, I used Innosearch to do a lot of that research, because while that's not a huge investment, it's not a huge purchase. It's one of those ones like I didn't want to make the wrong decision and regret it. And so using the AI, what's a beginner friendly printer? What are some of the features that these printers offer to make it easier to use it? And ultimately the one I ended up going with was partially because you could start your first print in 15 minutes. And then from there, it's okay, what filament do I need to buy for my printer? There's all that follow-up that I need to understand so that I'm not putting the wrong materials in and breaking something that I just spent hundreds of dollars on. And being able to do all of that in one place, I think is very cool. So from your perspective, because I know it didn't necessarily start out that way, how has that process of continuing to improve and aggregate into a single location gone?
Yeah, so actually, it's obviously, like you said, our product has gone through many iterations, right? And ultimately, we came to this end-to-end solution, right, where you could discover products, research products, add to cart, ultimately purchase. And if you needed to return or get customer support, that is also taken care of. So that entire end-to-end process, we decided um, to add into Innosearch because we realized that this whole process from retailer A to retailer B to retailer C can be inaccessible, right? So sometimes a retailer might optimize finding the product and checking out, but when you try to get customer service, it's terrible, right? Just finding the right email to send a message to, right? Or even getting onto the phone with them is impossible, right? Or getting tracking, they might take 3 or 4 days before they respond to your email, right?
Right.
So our innovation really is to create an end-to-end accessible shopping experience. So whether you're looking for a product, right, whether you're checking out, or you're asking for customer service help, we want to make sure it's easy and super simple for our user, right? So I think of us as an accessibility layer, right? So whether and we communicate between the customer and the actual business, right? The business being the 500,000 retailers. So
Right.
if you're a customer and you're trying to learn about a product, you might go to this retailer website and the information is all over the place, or the images aren't properly described with alt text, right? So InnoSearch will scrape all that information, right? Make sure the alt text is properly inserted, make sure there's proper research done on the item. So when you chat with our AI, it has all that great information, right? And should you want to purchase the item, uh, the checkout process on that retailer site might not be accessible, right? So
Right.
we have standardized the process, right? So for all the 500,000 retailers, the checkout flow is exactly the same, right? Where you enter your credit card information, where you enter your address is always exactly the same. So as a user, you're never thrown off,
Right.
right? And I know sometimes a lot of these websites go through UI changes, right? They have version 1, version 2 updates, and
Right.
then throws your screen reader off again. But we keep it very simple. What you see today is very likely what you will see tomorrow, the day after. And it's something that people can expect and rely on, right, for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And that's something we found our users have loved it, right? So we've seen a lot of people switch over. They normally have shopped on Walmart, they've shopped on Best Buy, but now they buy it all through InnoSearch. And we're very thankful for that.
So one question that I have, coming from like a background in search engine optimization and digital marketing, is there anything being done, because you're aggregating so much data, so much information about these products into one place? Is there anything that InnoSearch is doing to optimize or minimize the cognitive load? Like for example, when I Google how do I make my website accessible, there's like 16 million results. So if I typed in something very broad and very general, like electric toothbrush as an example, am I going to get like 100,000 toothbrush results, or is the AI sort of stepping in to like, here's the most popular, here's the price, the most average price? Is there any of that sort of filtering that's being done naturally?
Yeah, exactly. There is. So obviously, we don't pull everything under the sun, right? We rank
Right.
the items based off of relevancy, based off of customer reviews, popularity. Of course, if you're looking for something very specific from a particular retailer, you can also enter that into the search bar and it will, find that item for you. But if you're
Right.
looking for something general, um, there's, an internal ranking so that there's not too many results that you have to look through.
Yeah. Yeah. And is there a way for businesses to be able to like advertise their products through InnoSearch to like push them higher on on that aggregation process, or what's it look like from a promotion and an advertising perspective?
We actually have not explored this. I mean, we've had a lot of people inquire,
Hmm.
but actually right now there's no promoted items, no advertisements on InnoSearch. And a big part of that is actually by design, because we know pop-ups, ads, and various things that a lot of e-commerce sites have actually throw off the screen reader and make it more challenging to find what you want. So a big part of it is actually by design. We try to keep it to the point, straightforward and simple. So you just find what you're looking for, right? And we don't really put any of that promotional stuff in between. Now, we may work with some partners in the future, but as of now, there's no plan to do that because at the end of the day, I want to stay true to our mission, right? Which is accessibility and ease of use for the user, right? And if it means that we'll omit ads, then so be it, right? I
Right.
think that's a core selling proposition of the business.
Gotcha. Awesome. So moving kind of into that second vertical with the travel and the flights, I know that's new over the last couple of months. And so what is the general like you can book flights through there. You can book travel and organize travel in the same place you're buying your travel size shampoos and deodorants and things like that. So what has that experience been like to add on a layer that's almost kind of in a completely different direction with like planning and travel and things outside of just e-commerce?
Yeah, so the way we think of it is we're a site to enable digital accessibility, right, for important online services. So e-commerce obviously is one of the biggest and most important, but obviously I've attended a lot of blind and low vision conferences and assistive technology conferences, and one of the biggest complaints I've heard is how challenging it was to book a flight or how challenging it was to access the Marriott hotel website, right? And how many hours they had to spend
Right.
um, chatting with customer support, right? And so we were, thinking internally like, hey, travel websites also have unique experiences, right? If you're going on Southwest, United, God forbid, Frontier or Spirit, right? You're going to see all these pop-ups and different experiences, right? That obviously throw off screen readers. Not to mention if you need to travel with a guide dog, right? How hard it is to get that information to these airlines. So we thought, hey, there might be also another opportunity here, right? And it's not too hard for us to build this experience since we already have a lot of experience doing it for e-commerce. So we soon rolled out the flight booking feature, and so far it's been a pretty big hit. I mean, people book flights on there almost every day. We get people from all over the US, also in the UK, Australia, Canada,
That
booking
was my next
flights.
question. Is it US specific or is it a global international travel?
Yeah, exactly. It's global, international. Anything you could find on Google Flights or all your Expedia, whatever, you can
Yeah.
also find on the InnoSearch flight booking service. And again, we keep it very simple, very streamlined. Um, the whole booking process is on InnoSearch, right? So let's say you're booking a flight, from Oakland Airport to Fort Lauderdale, right? And Fort Lauderdale back, right? You're flying Frontier there, but Spirit on the way back. You don't have to go to these airlines' individual websites. You can do it all on InnoSearch, right? And if you have any issues, trouble, you can email us directly and we will contact the airline on your behalf, right? So you can think of us almost like sort of like a travel agent, right?
Right.
That helps you coordinate all these flights.
Very cool. I have yet to use the travel feature, but I'm sure I will be here soon. It seems like everything is kind of going back to the in-person route. So I've even seen a couple of events that were only in person. They kind of are taking away the hybrid option in some cases. So sure, I'll be using it soon. So I want to the third one, the call call to shop. So a little bit of the e-commerce, but just talking to an AI assistant over the phone. Um, what is that experience like for people who haven't used that? Because for me, I think of it as like a modern infomercial. Like you watch a commercial on TV and you pick up the phone, and with 3 easy payments of $19.99, like to me, that's like the scenario that plays in my head. But obviously a significantly more modern approach to it where you're searching and purchasing with the help of AI over a phone call now. So what is that experience like? I dial that, I forget what the numbers were, but Shop GPT, it connects me to the assistant. How does that work?
Yeah, so the way I would think of the I guess the way I would describe the shopping phone line is like calling your friendly shopkeeper at Best Buy, right? Or like your customer service agent at some store, right? It acts like a person, and it, instead of just having the catalog of items at one particular store, it actually has access to all 500,000 retailers and a billion product SKUs, right? So it has, that entire catalog to search from, and you can have a conversation with it just like how we're talking right now. Right? You can say, when you dial it, it'll say, "Hey, this is Innosearch shopping assistant. What can I help you find today?" Right? And you can just chat with it as if you're chatting with the person. You can say, "Hey, I'm looking for an electric toothbrush and I'm looking to spend something like $100. Can you help me find something?" Then it'll give you recommendations, right? Oral B, A, or whatever. Say, "Oh, I like this one. Can you tell me more about it?" Then it'll tell you all the product details. I say, "Oh, okay, that sounds good. I would like to add this to my cart." And it'll add it to your cart. And it'll, just like as if you were shopping at a store and talking with, the shopkeeper. That's the persona that we've built,
And it
right?
just
And
takes like the card info right over the phone and plugs it all
that's right.
in.
Yep. Card info, shipping details, and best of all, you actually don't even need to create an account. It's actually tied to your phone number. So when you call back using that same number, it knows it's you, and it will. If you ask it, "Hey, what's the status of my order?" Whatever, it's able to find the orders based on your phone number as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And actually, I would say about a quarter to a half of the transactions we do actually are from the phone line now. So
It's not surprising.
yeah,
It's such
people
a
really
like,
like it.
yeah, it's such an easy alternative. And so I have to ask the elephant in the room. A lot of people from the blind and visually impaired community, privacy and security is a huge concern. And so what is InnoSearch doing? Because you're getting a ton of user data, credit card information. I'm sure you're compliant with all the regulatory stuff, but can you just kind of give a little bit of insight as to like the privacy and security behind like personal data when shopping, whether it be on the phone or on the site, booking flights and travel? How is that personal data being taken care of?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, personal data is very important to us, right? And we want to make sure um, things are done correctly. So a lot of the payment, actually all the payment processing data, like your address, your credit card information, we don't store any of that. That's all done on Stripe, right? So when you actually dial the phone line and the payment is processed, we actually redirect you to the Stripe interface. Um, and Stripe will collect all that information, process everything, right? And none of that is stored on our servers, and we don't handle any of that. Stripe obviously is, one of the biggest payment processors
Yeah.
out there. I think they do close to like $1 trillion of payment processing every year. So they definitely have all their ducks in a row, and
Right.
they do all the best possible practices.
Yeah. Awesome. And so my last question, I don't want to take up too much of your day. My last question for you is, we're recording this, it's May 2025. What's in the pipeline for InnoSearch? What can people be on the lookout for in the coming months, coming years as you guys just continue to push that envelope and like you said, be that accessibility layer. You started with shopping and then booking flights, and now you can call to shop. What's next?
Yeah, so we've obviously spoken to a lot of our users, and again, I would say feedback and demand from the community is ultimately what drives our product decisions, right? So, if there's something that you feel is inaccessible today that you feel InnoSearch could do something about, I would urge you to message us, right? I mean, you can email me, Patrick@Innosearch.ai. We can set up, a user study session. We can talk about it. And actually, that's how a lot of our features came to be, right? We interact with our community very often, daily, weekly, and they actually give us these suggestions, right? They tell us that, this is something that sucks right now, and can you do something about it, right? And we obviously do a little bit of internal research. We assess the market, how hard it is to do, et cetera. But if it's possible, right, and we think there's an opportunity, we definitely will try it. I mean, we're a startup. We move super, super quickly, right? And we roll things out very fast, right? So,
Right.
and you asked me what's coming up. I would say, and has been asked for a lot, is local grocery and food delivery, right? So I know grocery
Hopefully
stores at
without the
times.
huge fees.
Exactly. Yes. That is something that we are working on right now. We plan to integrate all the local grocery stores and also local food restaurants in all 50 states in the United States. Um, and we're targeting early June to release that. So in the coming month or so, expect to see InnoSearch have a lot more, local, um,
That's awesome.
grocery chains or
I'll be
restaurants, right?
I will be using that. The two that come to mind for me just off just first to mind are the crypto space. A lot of the Web3 wallets and apps, and I know like the big NFT boom, like a lot of that was just so highly inaccessible. And when you look at things like the Video and Communication Act, that was to try to make it so the technology as it emerged, people weren't being left behind. And I feel like in the Web3 space, coming from your background in blockchains and investment, I'm sure you can attest to this, that there really wasn't a whole lot of conversation around accessibility within those spaces. And so there were a lot of people that were interested but couldn't get in
Oh
because
yeah, absolutely.
you had inaccessible wallets and apps and tokens, and you had to do all of these things. So that's one for me, because uh, I was involved, but not super heavily involved. The other one is digital documentation and like signing documents. Whether it's a legal form, it's a contract, it's a lease agreement for an apartment. I've seen so many documents that are just so inaccessible, that require something organic like a signature, that if you're totally blind, how does that work? Right. And so those are the two that come to me: documents and signing, and crypto, and kind of that whole Web3 conversation.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I know for a fact Web3, I mean, even for sighted people, it's challenging, right? I mean, there's so many scams out there and all sorts of stuff on the internet, right? You click the wrong thing because you're not reading it carefully, and it's over. So definitely can resonate with that.
Well,
But yeah,
even like the wallets, like the MetaMasks and some of those, let alone like the Raribles and the OpenSea for like buying NFTs, like um, that whole space, I was highly intrigued, but just there was so much to it to unpack there.
yeah, it's very challenging and it's a rapidly evolving space as well. So
Yeah. So awesome. Well, any final thoughts? I know you mentioned your email in there. If there's any ways that, like, if you guys have like a feedback form, what's the best way for people to get in touch, give you those insights or their recommendations of what sucks today? What's that look like?
Yeah, so you can just go to Innosearch.ai, and if you scroll down to the bottom, we have a community section. And if you enter your name and your email, we will reach out to you and add you to our community outreach list. And that's where we send out notifications about upcoming game nights, upcoming accessibility training sessions, right? And you can just reply directly to that if you have any feedback or things you just want to share with us. I mean, we're always open and available to chat. So any users that want to just connect, hang out, whatever, we're happy to do so. So you could use that form. You could email me directly, Patrick@innosearch.ai, or you can just email our support staff at support@innosearch.ai. And our staff is online 24/7. So any time of the day, basically, since we have customers in the UK and Australia, so we basically cover every single time zone. So shoot us an email. We get back pretty fast, usually within a couple of hours.
Awesome. Well, I'll be sure to include all the links in emails in the description below. But Patrick, every time we talk, you have something new for me. So I appreciate you connecting and sharing and diving a little bit deeper into some of those conversations around Innosearch and how it got started and where it's headed. So thank you. And I definitely look forward to seeing what the feedback is like once this goes up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Happy to do so. And thank you so much for the time and opportunity to share Search with your community, James. Really appreciate it. And yeah, look forward to being
Well,
back if there's a
well,
chance in the future.
I think I speak for the community when I say we appreciate what you guys are doing. So um, let us know how we can help. And for this interview, I think that's going to wrap us up. I thank you again, Patrick. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Patrick. I'm happy to help facilitate conversations as well. But I think that's it.
All right. Thanks a lot, James.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care.